This is the Samsung Galaxy S26 Disassembly. If you want to see more videos like this, make sure you subscribe and click on the notification bell so you'll be notified once I upload a new video. Also, if you need any tools, there are links in the description. First, we'll need to remove the SIM tray. Looking at the SIM tray, we can see a gray rubber gasket around the opening. Now heat needs to be applied to the back plate using either a hairdryer or a heat gun to loosen up the adhesive underneath, and then a pry tool can be used to pry the back plate off. I prefer to use a hairdryer since there's less of a chance of damaging any of the components inside by overheating them. Here's a better look at the back glass plate. The glass camera lens covers can be replaced by applying heat and prying them off, so you don't have to take apart the phone to replace those. The rings can also be replaced, which are also held on with some adhesive, so the same goes for those, just apply some heat and pry them off. And here's a look at that. There are now 19 Phillips screws which need to be removed. There's an NFC antenna over the motherboard cover, and the wireless charging coil is located here. There is also graphite film to help transfer heat. Here's a look at the other side. The battery cable can now be disconnected, followed by the rest of the cables. This is the top earpiece speaker assembly. And there's an antenna board on the top corner. And this is the bottom speaker assembly. There's also a rubber gasket and mesh filter over the speaker opening. Looking at the flex cables, we can see this flex cable which connects the screen to the main board, and these two flex cables which connect the subboard to the main board. Looking at the motherboard, we see the 12 megapixel ultra-wide lens, the 50 megapixel primary, as well as a 10 megapixel telephoto lens. The main camera or telephoto lens have OIS or optical image stabilization. The LED flash is located here, and there's a secondary microphone on the top corner. Taking a look at the back, we see the proximity and ambient light sensor, another microphone located here, the camera cables which can be disconnected by just popping them off, as well as heat transfer film and thermal paste on the back shields to help transfer heat. Once peeled back, we see a thermal pad which sits over the components around the processor and RAM, as well as additional thermal paste over the RAM which is seated over the processor. And the ROM or onboard storage chip is located here. Here's a better look with the thermal paste cleaned off. The 12 megapixel front facing camera is glued in place with a cure in place gasket, so if you wanted to replace that, you'd have to use an X-Acto knife or a razor blade to carefully cut out the glue around the sides of the camera and pull the camera out. As for replacing the screen, there are two ways you can go about doing that. The first way is either easier or more difficult, depending on how you look at it. So you can replace the screen without disassembling the phone, and all you'd have to do is heat up the front of the phone where the screen is to loosen up the adhesive underneath, and then pry the screen off from the frame, making sure you're careful since the flex cable will still be attached to the back of the screen, and you want to disconnect it before pulling the screen completely off so you don't tear the flex cable. However, when applying a new screen that way, you'd have to apply new adhesive, and then reconnect the flex cable properly when reapplying the screen to the frame and pushing it down, but you don't really have much room to work with since the flex cable for the screen isn't long, and relies on being pressed down to the speaker assembly to connect and reattach. So if you don't press it down properly or don't apply the screen properly, you'll have to pry the screen off again, which poses a high chance of damaging a working screen. Which goes to the second option. For the second option, you would have to remove the back plate, the screws on the bottom speaker assembly, and remove the speaker assembly itself, which will then give you access to disconnecting the flex cable from behind the screen, and then you'd have to apply heat to the front of the phone to remove the screen, and then reapply new adhesive and reapply the new screen, reattach the flex cable behind the screen, and reassemble the phone. Now when it comes to removing the battery, there is a pull pouch provided to help you pry it off. There are indicators on the sleeves of the pouch, which let you know to peel off each sleeve. This is the 4300 mAh battery. Once the battery and battery adhesive pouch have been removed, we have a better look at the vapor chamber which runs underneath the battery as well as the motherboard. Now comparing the vapor chamber on the S26 to the S25, we do see a significant increase in the size, since the one on the S25 only extended underneath the motherboard. However, the one on the S26 also extends underneath the camera assembly, and we can see it through the cutouts in the frame. And this is a comparison between the two. And here's an overlay between the S26 and the S25. If you watch the drop test and durability video I did on this phone, I put the phone in a bag of sand and moved it around to see if there would be any scratches on the screen. So taking a look over here in the cutout for the earpiece speaker, we do see some of the residual sand, which made it through the slit in the front of the phone, which is for the cavity which leads to the earpiece speaker. Since there is no filter in the slit of the phone to prevent any debris from getting in, the phone primarily relies on the rubber gasket and mesh filter over the speaker opening directly over the speaker to filter out any liquid or debris from getting through. So we do see some grains of sand over the filter, as well as over the frame and behind the screen over here. That's another reason why I like to tell people that these phones are water resistant and not waterproof. Since a lot of people think these phones are waterproof and comfortably take the phones with them in the pool, to the beach, or other places where there's water over and over again, and eventually develop some problems with the speaker or the phone itself when water eventually makes it through. Because over the course of time, water will eventually make its way through the rubber gasket and seep in from the sides, as well as make its way through the mesh filter for the speaker, causing damage to the speaker or rust to develop over time. The same would go for the bottom speaker. Now for the subboard, there are two Phillips screws which are holding it down. Taking a look at the subboard, we see a red rubber gasket around the charger port, and the primary microphone is located here. The SIM reader is located on the back. The haptic feedback or vibrator motor is located on the bottom, which is held down with some adhesive. In order to replace that, just apply some heat and pry it off. This is the flex cable for the volume keys and power button. To replace that, just gently peel off the flex cable from the frame, and lift up and pull out this metal bracket which is in the slit of the frame to remove the flex cable assembly. As for the physical buttons themselves, those can be pulled out of the frame. Now when it comes to this phone, if you're to accidentally insert a SIM ejector tool in the wrong hole, you don't need to worry since both the filters and the microphones are seated above the holes, so they wouldn't get damaged. For the repairability score on this phone, I give it a 9 out of 10. Now it's time to put the phone back together. Once everything's back in place, apply new adhesive and reapply the back cover. Flip over the phone, power it on, and you're done. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in the next one.